Максиме, де ви в Одесі?
Ну, я в центрі, біля свого театру. Так що.
Welcome, everybody, here to the Martin Segal Theater Center at the Graduate Center CUNY in Midtown Manhattan in New York City. It's a sunny, bright day here in New York, but it's a sad and dark, dark day for the world. We are in day 23 of the illegal military invasion of Ukraine by Russia. War crimes are committed every day. Just as theater was bombed, a sacred space where citizens were seeking shelter. So many died. It's shocking and horrific. And it is about time, perhaps also for us in the New York and in the US, to get a little closer look. We have with us two workers of the Ukrainian theater, two representatives who had the time and the space to talk. And with us is Maria Bruni. She's a Ukrainian actress working in theater and in cinema. And we have Golenko Maxim Georgievich with us. Maxim is a director who directs all over Kyiv. They are both connected to the Wild Theater in Kyiv and many, many others. He has directed over 15, 20 places. Both of you, thank you so much for coming with us. We also have Elena Slyanko from PS1 21 in Chatham, a Ukrainian Russian curator who is a part of the New York theater scene here, and she will help us to translate. First, welcome to Maria and Golenko. How are you guys, and where are you? What time is it?
I'm in safe now. Thank you a lot for invite. Thank you. I really appreciate it because I think it's very important now to talk about it all.
So you are in Poland, in Gdansk. You got out?
No, not in Gdansk. I'm in Poznan. I just arrived here, from Berlin, and so I'm here. Yeah, I'm in Poland now.
Thank you. Elena, can you ask Maxim where he is and what time it is?
Максим, скажіть, будь ласка, де ви зараз і який час в Одесі?
Ну, я зараз в Одесі. Я біля свого театру. Тут деякі з акторів ще залишилися, так що вечір у нас, слава Богу, більш-менш спокійне місто, затишно, поки що, так що ну, а завтра ми збираємось вже, мабуть, і працювати. Так що потихеньку.
Let's translate. 1 second. Yeah.
Maxim is right now in Odessa. It's evening in Odessa. He happens to be near his theater. That's where he is staying. And there are even a few actors also still around. And tomorrow he is hoping to actually start working.
Mm-hmm. As far as we know, the Russian army is getting closer to Odessa. How do you feel?
Як ви почуваєте, коли армія росіянська наближається до Одеси?
Ну, жахливо, що я можу сказати. Це і, ну, це і страшнувато, і слава тобі, Господи, що Одеса все ж таки більш-менш тилове місто. Нам підфартило на шляху російської армії стоїть Mykolaiv, який захищається зараз. Іначе
Let's translate.
It's from one hand, yes, Frank, it's terrifying, the army being nearby, but we also want to say how lucky we feel because thanks to tremendous sacrifice of our neighbors, the town of Mykolaiv in particular, where Ukrainian army was on the way of the approaching Russian army.
And they stopped it down, they slowed
and fighting and really defending Ukraine with a great deal of sacrifice.
І у нас дуже тут в Одесі круті протиповітряні сили, і кожен ранок ми починаємо з того, що за кавою знаємо, скільки російських літаків збили. над морем.
Let's translate.
Each morning in Odessa, we count how many Russian planes were shot down over the Black Sea. And you see everywhere in town defenses, the constructed defenses all over town.
So, and if I understand right, you will be rehearsing tomorrow. You said there are actors in town. Did I understand right?
Ви будете працювати над якоюсь театральною постановкою, так? Завтра?
Так, ми поговорили. Мені дуже багато телефонують актори, ті, що залишились. Частина театру жінки, хтось виїхав, дуже багато чоловіків пішло до Збройних сил, але дехто залишився, і люди просять просто, щоб можна було працювати, щоб вони не з'їхали з глузду. Вони вже не можуть.
Let's translate.
It's really that I get so many calls from my actors. Of course, a lot of them left the country, especially women who had kids, but some stayed. A lot of men from my troupe, they joined the army, but some people stayed, and they are asking me to start rehearsals so that they don't completely go crazy in the circumstances.
What is he rehearsing?
What are you working on? Над чим ви працюєте зараз, Максим?
Зараз ми будемо, прямо завтра перша репетиція, у нас чітка. Ми будемо брати п'єсу Наташі Vorozhbyt «Саша винесе сміття». Ну, це якраз така історія про, доволі патріотична, про війну. І ми зрозуміли, що це зараз те, що саме потрібно.
Tomorrow we start the reading of Natalia Vorozhbyt's play, Sasha Takes Out the Trash. It's particular opposite and topical for this moment. It's a piece about the war. It's quite patriotic. And that's what we are going to be working with our actors tomorrow.
Incredible. Yeah, actually a play we read at the Segal. Natasha was visiting us with the play. We also had her on Segal talk in the time of Corona. And I remember her saying, for us, Corona is like Christmas time. You know, the war had to stop, but we, can stay at home. It's some kind of a more peaceful time. And I tried to reach her. I've emailed her 3-4 times. I haven't heard from her. So I don't know what it is. But let's go to Maria. Maria, when was the moment when you said, I have to leave the country?
It was evening of first day of the war, because I woke up with, we lived with our friend, with Maxim friend, our director from our theater, Natasha Sivanenko, and we woke up with this siren, and it was some kind of bang 3 times, and after that we need to just think what we need to do. We go to shelter in our house, begin to take some stuffs on it, to think what we need to do to go or to stay. But at evening I decided that we need to go, and I said Natasha and I said my daughter that we need to go. We sat on my car, took the luggage, and when we go from Kyiv, on second day it began bangs in Kyiv, and after that we just ran away on villages around the cities, and 3 days we ran to borderline, and after that I broke my car and I left it in Ukraine, and after that we went this borderline by foot, open air. I with my daughter 9 hours at night, and Natasha 15, because I went to hospital, Polish hospital. So it was hard and scary process for us, because someone was in shelters and hear these banks all day, and now it's continuing. And we were, I'm sorry, on this open air borderline with a lot of panic people, and it was really scary too.
So you
Like
marched, you walked for 9 hours with your daughter after your car broke down.
We didn't walk, we just stayed by foot, because a lot of people was very close to each other.
Incredible. And what are your colleagues doing? Did some stay behind? Did some leave? Did some, like Maxim said, they actually become soldiers? An incredible thing to think that from stage.
Is it for me question?
Yes,
or
yeah,
Maxim?
Your colleagues. What were you doing? What were you rehearsing?
Now I'm in a new theater in Poznan, because I was in Berlin for a week, and I haven't some kind of job there yet. But in Poznan, my colleagues proposed me to be like resident in their theater and have some readings on Ukrainian and Polish, and some kind of rehearsals maybe. So they're very nice people and very talented theater. So now I'm here, and I hope to make some job, because without job, it's really totally you become crazy all day. You just reading this news, and now I think we all need a job. So I understand why Maxim with my colleagues in Odessa, and I'm so want to be there with them, but I'm here. I understand why they began to take new dramaturgy and new performance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is just a devastating situation, devastating choices. Whatever one does is wrong. There's no thing right to do. I know that my colleague Agata Grenda, who once was also the head of the Polish Cultural Institute here till she was forced out. She said, they are hosting many of you. So how does it work? Did you stay in this theater? Did you get distributed in apartments? And how did you find shelter?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question as well. How did I?
When you arrived, how did you get to Poznan, and what? And how did they help you? How did the theater?
Які були обставини, як ви знайшли театр в Познані?
Я зрозуміла. It was just a Facebook. Some kind of group theater people in Facebook.
Just says so digital media.
I watch this some kind of cast. It was cast, and they needed a Ukrainian actress for a few readings. It's little projects, and I made my self-tape, and I gave it, sent it them in theater, and they liked me, I hope so. And after that they proposed me not only reading but residence in their theater. Yeah, and I really appreciate them.
Yeah, I mean, 2-3 million people have left the Ukraine. It's this most serious situation since World War II. Also in the time of Corona, nobody knows what also will happen, with soldiers who are who never have been fully vaccinated, and people who haven't, and pandemics and mass movement in wartime is a toxic combination. Maxim, how do you feel that your actors are soldiers now?
Максим, як ви відчуваєте, що стільки ваших акторів пішли в армію воювати?
Я думаю, що це правильно. Це наш борг. Там, коли треба ну, коли треба буде, ми всі підемо. Так що.
I support them fully. That's what's needed now, and I support them.
But were they trained? Were they in the army before? Are they voluntary fighting?
Вони як добровольці, чи вони колись раніше служили в армії, чи вони обучені?
Ну, більша частина, ну, це перша черга, це ті, хто вже був в армії. Там і артилерісти, і інші, да.
Most of them used to serve in the army before, so there was some training.
Mm-hmm. Maxim, what does it mean for you to do theater in wartime?
Що для вас означає працювати в театрі, коли йде війна?
Ну, ви знаєте, зараз, крім того, що йде війна, я розумію, що є війна, а є, треба щось робити те, що ти вмієш, і щоб була якась користь твоїй країні. І я розумію, що та вистава, яку ми зробимо, ми її будемо зараз, ну, я розумію, що це в бомбосховищі, в підвалах ми будемо робити, але ми дуже хочемо її показувати і ЗСУ, і волонтерам, і трішки, щоб вона могла трішки підняти дух. Я розумію, для чого це робити.
Firstly, it's important that we all do what we know how to do. And for us, it is theater. It's important to be engaged. It's important to continue working, and it's important to be useful. We think that we can lift the spirits. We look forward to showing the production or the readings to the army officers, to be close to the front and actually continue to present our work to people who we think will respond.
І так ми демонструємо, що ми живі.
And that's
що
how
ми нічого не боїмось, і ми займаємось своєю справою.
That's also a sign of showing that we are here, we stand for our country, and we are not afraid.
Mm-hmm. Will you go with your theater company to the front, if you say, or will the soldiers come to your theater?
Ви сказали, що ви можете офіцерам, солдатам армії показувати. Ви поїдете на фронт, чи ви будете приглашати армійців в свій театр?
Ну, я думаю, що ми будемо показувати. Ну, фронт і тут солдати, і тут армія.
Well, a lot of the army is stationed here in Odessa, so we think the front is here in our town.
Mm-hmm.
Можна я додам? I wanted to tell
you can also
about...
speak in Ukrainian, and Elena can translate for you.
Справа в тому, що це вперше такий випадок, мені здається, коли, ну, може не вперше, але це унікальний випадок в нехорошому смислі цього слова, коли фронту немає. Фронт, в тому та й справа, що фронт зараз в наших містах. У нас немає взагалі ніякого безпечного місця. Тому
you should keep in mind that there is no such thing as us and the front. The front is everywhere. The battlefield is everywhere, and it's this peculiar circumstances of this war that the front is in our towns and cities all around.
Да, і це правда, в кожному місті люди не знають, чи вони прокинуться, чи ні.
In each town, Maxim says, people don't know whether they will wake up tomorrow or not.
А в деяких місцях люди не знають, на якій вони території. Вони дзвонять друзям, як із Маріуполя, і питають, скажи мені, ми ще Україна чи вже Росія?
And many people, such as residents of Mariupol, if they call, they don't even know what territory they're in. They call their friends asking, are we on the territory of the Russians or are we on the territory still of Ukraine?
Якось так, для цього ми це і будемо робити.
So that's how it goes.
Do you hear, Maxim, do you hear from your actors? How do you stay in contact?
Як ви в контакті залишаєтесь зі своїми акторами в театрі, Максим?
Ну, у нас є телеграм-канал, там весь театр, і ми слідкуємо. І
Through Telegram canal that our theater maintains, and so we follow each other very closely.
да, і кожен, хто де, хто в якій країні, хто в Одесі, хто...
And people are scattered all over. Some are in Odessa, some are in other towns, and we all follow each other. Some are in different countries.
Зараз наш театр по всьому світу, і ми просто...
In fact, my theater is now, in fact, my theater now is all over the world.
І в мене мрія зібрати всіх після нашої перемоги тут.
And my dream is to gather everybody after our victory, so that everybody is back in Odessa.
І я в це дуже вірю.
So you said after victory, you feel that Ukraine will prevail?
Ви відчуваєте і вірите, що Україна переможе?
А як же? Ну, у нас і по-іншому не може бути.
There is no other way. There is no other way.
Ну, правда на нашій стороні, так що, да, і...
The truth is on our side.
У цієї нації, у нашої нації немає реально іншого виходу, бо це геноцид нації.
Ukrainians as a nation don't have any other choice.
Ну, і ми перемагаємо.
And we are winning.
Maxim, you directed I think, in over 40 cities in the Ukraine. How does it make you feel that they are all bombed and that the...
Максим, ви працювали в багатьох містах в Україні. Як ви зараз відчуваєте, що стільки містечок і різних зараз міст розбомблюються?
Ну, як я можу відчувати? Ну, це біль, я знаю всі ці міста. І, наприклад, у Луганську я працював у 2013 році, робив 3-грошову оперу, а в 2014-му до цього міста вже не можна було потрапити, бо...
Just to give you an example, I worked in 2013 in Luhansk, and in 2014, that city changed irrevocably. It wasn't even possible to enter the city at that point anymore.
У Маріуполі, якого вже нема, ми дуже багато їздили на фестивалі, а Марія взагалі звідти. І я знаю інше місто квітуче і красиве, коли ми приїжджали на ці фестивалі влітку, і мені зараз страшно на це дивитися.
Mariupol, the gorgeous town of green, lush greenery, festivals. We used to travel to Mariupol often. So many festivals I attended. Maria is from Mariupol, and Mariupol no longer exists.
А в Києві перша ракета, яка впала, вона впала поруч із нашою сценою, з Довженка-центром. І коли
The first rocket that fell on Kyiv was near the Dovzhenka Center, where I used to work.
Це, ну, всі ці міста я знаю, це для мене суцільна біль.
It's a never-ending horror and pain for me, because I know intimately all of the places and towns and streets which are now under attack.
А в Миколаєві у мене мати і театр, в якому я дуже багато працював. І я хапаюсь за слухавку кожного разу, коли я бачу в інтернеті, що там новий обстріл. Останній був за 10 хвилин перед тим, як ми з вами почали спілкуватися.
My mother is in Mykolaiv, and so many other theater colleagues are in Mykolaiv. And just 10 minutes ago, before we started this conversation with you, there was yet another attack and bombing. Each time I grasp my phone, internet, trying to find the news, what happened.
Тому це для нас 24 години суцільна біль. Ми сидимо над цими картами і дивимося, де прилетіло кожного разу.
It's a 24/7 anxiety and deep pain of not knowing.
Yeah, it's for us, we are so far removed. America, in one sense, it's a big country, but it's still an island. We are not as affected. All my friends in Berlin hosting Ukrainian refugees. Poland, I think, hosts 1.5 million people who came in within 2 weeks. Maria, Maxim said you are from Mariupol. Tell us a bit, what goes through your mind when you think about your city?
Марія, розкажіть про
Yeah,
Маріуполь.
I understand. Yeah, that's okay. I just don't know.
Say it in
what to answer.
Ukrainian. We can translate. Yeah, we can translate.
No, it's a problem not in Ukrainian. Problem because I can't answer what in my mind. At first time it was like it's my city. It's my first theater. I worked there. It was my first father theater, and now it's like my heart is bent like that. But it's not problem about building, you know. Building, we can build new building, but people and they trust in some kindness, in some peace. It's really horrible for me. For me, it's more horrible than buildings. That's all.
Yeah. What do you hear from your colleagues who stayed behind, Maria?
They are in shelters, they are in theaters, they are in their flats. One of our colleagues in young theater in Kyiv was died, I think yesterday. It's scary, and I don't know, in Europe, my colleagues are very scary too, because all of them are in some flats of some friends, and they just sitting and became crazy. So I think now I have only my profession, just my profession. I haven't my home. I can't to do something in my theater. It's in Odessa. I haven't anything, but I have my profession. So now a lot of my colleagues began to make some Zoom readings of Ukrainian literature, and it's a piece. It's a piece of peace. It's a good for us now to do something in our profession.
Mm-hmm. Talking about theater, Maxim, since, you know, as you said, we don't know if we wake up alive tomorrow, do you feel your life in theater that it was the right thing to do, to be in the world?
Frank, sorry.
Yeah, it's for him the choice to work in theater, seeing now all the atrocities. Some go to war, some chose military. You know, how does he feel about working in the theater?
Максим, а от такий вибір, що ви будете працювати в театрі між тим, що можна було щось інше робити, як ви почуваєте за свій вибір зараз?
Я думаю, що це правильний вибір, що це доказуємо і коли треба, ми будемо робити щось інше, але я думаю, що так ми доказуємо, що ми нічого не боїмось, і що, знову я кажу, що ми живі, що ми, що в цьому театрі панує життя, і що воно буде після того, як ми переможемо.
It is how we prove our own vitality, but also the fact that our theater is still there. And so that very much dictated my choice. It's the work that we do, and I felt it was what we do now is important to do.
І я бачу, як це місто оживає, і тут дуже просять, як 2 тижні тут все було зачинено, і як відкриваються магазини, кафе, як люди, коли треба, співають і на вулицях, і ну, я розумію, що це зараз потрібно.
And I see the difference with the reverse. And just for 2 weeks, everything was closed, cafes, there was no street life. Now things are reopening, and people sing on the streets, they perform on the streets. So this is what life is, and proves that we are not afraid.
So people perform, they sing a song, or they, so tell us a bit, what do people do on the street?
Розкажіть, що на вулицях, як співають, на інструментах грають, що трапиться на вулицях?
Ну, ви знаєте, коли я бачу, як, ну, по-перше, коли я бачу, як півміста збирає, наприклад, пісок для барикад, і тут же оперні співаки співають наш гімн, і як люди щасливі підспівують, я розумію, що це, ну, це дуже дивно, але це людей якось надихає. Я розумію, що це, ну, начебто це звучить смішно, але це демонструє, що тут є життя і що ми нічого не боїмося.
The street life is now that half of the town residents build barricades, bring whole sandbags, and then you'd see a group of professional singers and musicians from theaters, from the National Opera, even singing national hymn, national anthem of Ukraine, and other music is happening in town, and that's how we prove that we are there. We are not afraid.
І це теж якась наша перемога над страхом і над смертю.
And that's our way of saying no to fear and saying no to death.
Ну, і якщо ми будемо робити цю виставу і показувати, як вам сказати, я розумію, для чого я це роблю.
So my work on the current piece is I understand why I'm doing this.
Я у себе на батьківщині, я в своєму театрі, я займаюся справою, яку вмію робити, і я вмію надихати в першу чергу так. І я повинен це робити, мені здається, це правильно.
I'm in my own theater, I'm in my homeland, my home country, and I'm practicing my craft, and that's what I feel I should be doing.
Mm-hmm. Maria, we really want to also to thank you for coming on the program. I wrote many mails and made calls. Many actors, directors who left Ukraine felt they could not speak. They felt they might be accused from fellow artists or fellow Ukrainians, and or also they are so conflicted about it. How does it feel to be in a relatively safe space, even so you have no work, you have no money coming in, but still it's a safer space? How do you deal with that situation of some of your friends and colleagues and theater artists out there? You are now in Poznan.
It's really crazy situation. It's not good feelings, and so why I'm here in Poznan with theater, and I'm not actress of the theater, but I'll be in some rehearsals and some art process, and it's important for me to be with my colleagues, because it's an international language, it's a very nice and very understandable people. So why I here? Because without my profession, without all of this, I don't know what I need in this world and how can I help to Ukraine now, because I have some volunteers job first days, but I feel that it's not enough, you know, and this feeling of fault, I began to do some work, some job, some volunteer jobs, but it's not enough. And now I understand I need to be in my profession somehow.
Yeah.
Because a lot of women do coffee much more better than me, and do soup for army much more better than me. But I can speak, I can act, and I think it's my war, it's my own war, and I'm soldier on my field, in my field.
Mm-hmm.
Like Maxim, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. We were both, Elena also was there at a demonstration here in New York in front of the Russian consulate. The New York theater community came together. It was a small but an effective one. And someone said the opposite here of war is not just freedom, it's actually creation. So be able to create. Maxim,
new history.
Is this changing you? Is it or is it reinforcing your work in theater, or do you feel you will do things radically different?
Максим, ви відчуваєте, що цей досвід війни змінить то, як ви працюєте?
Ну, безсумнівно. Ну, а як? Інакше не може бути. Я розумію це.
No question about it. What we are going through now will change the way I work, absolutely.
Ну, коли такий досвід прийшов, значить ми його пройдемо. І вірю, що вийдемо сильніше з цим досвідом.
I also feel that we will come out stronger with this terrible experience.
Tell us a bit about Ukrainian theater. What is so we all do not know enough. What makes Ukrainian theater different from, let's say, Polish, Romanian, Russian? What is Ukrainian theater about?
Розкажіть, який український театр, чим він відрізняється від театру в Польщі, в Румунії, інших країнах? Що особливого в Україні?
Good question, thank you.
Це таке питання. Ну, я не скажу. Ви знаєте, я думаю, що який український театр, яким, наприклад, ми займалися тут в Одесі, і наприклад, я, це трішки інші речі, бо все ж таки до цього український театр – це все ж таки постколоніальний трішки театр, такий, скажімо так, століттями його таким трішки робили, щоб він був такий красиво, співучий, безпроблемний, а той театр, яким все-таки от ми займалися.
Translate, 1 second, let's translate.
It's one feature I would say is that it's been a theater that is post-colonial theater that developed in this 100 years of kind of building a pretty picture without problems, and that was for some time the representation of Ukrainian theater. But
І мені здається, тільки після 2014 року, після того, що трапилося, з'явився український театр став більш соціальним, він почав говорити про якісь проблеми, він почав говорити намагатися своєю мовою. І для мене, наприклад, після першої, скажімо так, війни, це було таке суцільне попередження про те, що те, що зараз трапляється, воно відчувалося, що рано чи пізніше це трапиться, і весь час ми хотіли про це говорити.
And it is since about 2014 that theater really dived into more problem-focused theater of social, political awareness and agenda. It became very political, it became very aware of what was happening in the world. And that first war was really a warning to us, 2014, that theater cannot stand on the sidelines.
Я думаю, що після цього український театр дуже зміниться. Йому буде про що говорити.
And I believe that after this experience in war, Ukrainian theater will change.
І мені дуже страшно, що те, чого ми боялися, і про що ми попереджали всі ці роки, і це реально зараз трапляється.
And with us problematizing political situation since 2014, in our work, we would express that premonition of what was to come. And so this is now becoming a reality. So theater was building this kind of a warning, was given a warning. And it's what we were thinking, expressing, it's now becoming a reality.
Але те, що робиться зараз, ми в самих своїх фантазіях не могли уявити собі.
Although we couldn't even imagine in our past even experience of work what's going to happen, the reality of it, the horror.
A question for both of you, but let's start with Maria. Maria, what is your vision for theater? What do you feel theater is all about?
Ukrainian theater, you mean?
In general, your work, you decided to work. Why do you do theater?
Oh, it's a hard question for me. I don't know, because I'm happy when I do it, maybe, so why? And when I don't do it, I'm not happy. I think now we need to find some maybe more freedom in theater, because we had very provocative and very politician theater in Ukraine with Maxim Golenko, and it was our power in it. But now, after all this, really we was like one there. You understand what I mean? Like как-то провидці, про ті, хто передбачають майбутнє. Можете перекласти, допомогти мені? Єлена?
Скажіть знову, будь ласка, тому що я пишу зараз.
Я сказала, що в свій час ми передбачали цю ситуацію, і зараз ми стикнулися з тим, що ми маємо робити в театрі тепер щось нове, тому що ми ту тему, яку ми несли, її вичерпано.
Yeah, paradoxically, we were anticipating the horrors that were to come, and so we feel like that those themes, that topic, has been explored. It's been covered. We now have to move to the new ground. We have to now create new theater.
І поки що важко сказати, який саме театр ми будемо робити, які саме теми ми будемо піднімати. Мені здається, для цього треба спочатку перемогти. І зараз ми якраз...
But I think it's to answer your question, it's impossible to envision what that new theater is going to be, what's going to come. It's too early to say that.
Але я чомусь думаю, що це буде більш чистий театр, очищений театр від російського впливу і від меншовартості, однозначно.
And I feel like it will be the kind of theater that will lose its kind of subservience to more colonial, excuse me, Marie, if I'm sort of explaining a bit more, to more colonial Russian-centric tradition. It will lose, that grip will be lost finally, and we will become more idiosyncratic.
It will be more identical.
Yeah, it will be more
own identity.
authentic identity, full of Ukrainian, expressing who we are, rather than looking back at previous traditions, especially the Russian one.
Yeah, I think it was also Brecht who said, you know, what do we do when we are in dark times? And he said, we will sing about the dark times. And Maxim, what is your vision? Why do you do theater? What is your motivation to do it?
Максим, скажіть про свою мотивацію. Чому театр взагалі? Таке філософське питання.
Чому я їм займаюсь?
Так.
Ну, як прийшов, я правильно розумію? Чому зараз?
Взагалі, чому театр, чому не інша професія, і як ви уявляєте, чому важлив театр для вас?
Ну, це для мене так трапилося, що це для мене якийсь мегасвіт, в якому я можу робити, ну, це банальна відповідь, в якому я можу робити свої світи, і це мова, якою можу розмовляти.
For me, it's a way of living in a larger world. It's having a specific language that I can explore the world with and what's around me.
І те, що я можу робити, і маю так, ну, я роблю так, щоб до мене люди прислухались, і це для мене найефектніший і найцікавіший такий інструмент.
If I see that people are hearing us, that they listen to what we have to say, that's the biggest reward of my work, of my being, of meaning of why I do theater.
І коли я був підлітком, я це раптом зрозумів.
And I understood this in my teenage years, and that's how I ended up in this profession.
І потім не дергався нікуди, тільки це.
And then never really looked back.
Бо що може бути цікавіше, да?
Tell us a bit about, Maxim, about your 40 productions. Are they plays? Are they, you write the work with actors? Do you look towards the Western canon of plays or towards the Eastern? Tell us a little bit about your work and what you are known for.
Максим, розкажіть детальніше про свою працю. Які роботи вас цікавить? Чи то була драматургія західна, чи ви саме пишете? Який матеріал ви використовуєте в своїй праці? Ті всі постановки, що ви робили в різних містах.
Я розумію. Ну, ви знаєте, я такий всеядний хлопець. І останній рік я дуже багато... Я так трапилось, я займався, це західна драматургія, це у Львові ми ставили триграшовку і зробили її такий як постапокаліпсис. У Києві одна вистава була по Маркесу, і ми придумали таку країну, воно начебто Латинська Америка, але підрозумівали Україну, і вона така дуже гостра вийшла.
Let's translate. 1 second.
I'm generally I'm omnivorous, but the last couple of years, for instance, a year ago, I staged three-penny opera in Lviv. Then in Kyiv, also about a year or so ago, we did a new production based on works of Gabriel Garcia Marquez, where we recreated in this work as if the kind of imagined country of Latin America, but it really was Ukraine that we were exploring through this new work and new way.
Остання прем'єра була Мадей по Шеферу в опереті, і зараз десь тиждень нам не вистачило, у нас повинна було в Одесі, повинна бути прем'єра, щось на кшталт Флібак.
Яка я не зрозуміла?
Флібак.
Гедота, да. Погань – це жіноча моновистава. Але в останній час я дуже багато приділяю уваги суто українським драматургам. І ми дуже багато працюємо з Леною Лягушонковою. Це дуже крутий драматург український. Вона шеф-драматург в Одесі у нас. Зараз вона в Бидгощі, теж в Польщі.
We worked on a few other productions with the international dramaturgy. One was a mono spectacle, a production with based on, and I couldn't catch quite, maybe Maria will help me or type in the chat what the production was, but now
it wasn't production, it was a project, a performance that very looks like a serious British series Fleabag.
Fleabag, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yeah. But it was a performance.
Yeah, and now we are moving on to really engaging with Ukrainian playwrights, and one in particular that we are working very closely with. Her name is Lena, and the last name
Lena Lagushonkova.
Yes, who is based in Odessa,
no,
right?
She's like me. She's in Kyiv and in Odessa, but now she is not far from me in Poland, in Bydgoszcz.
Okay.
How wonderful!
She's with theater too, and she is okay. She isn't safe now.
Я думаю, якщо все буде добре, ми будемо співпрацювати. Я буду. Це такий жах, але я думаю, що це дасть поштовх і українській драматургії, і українським драматургам, і в першу чергу я буду займатися їх рефлексіями якось.
And I think it will be important for us to continue to give voice to Ukrainian playwrights and dramaturgs, because this experience we are living through right now I'm sure will give a tremendous push to new writing, new ideas, new experiences in theater.
Бо я думаю, що світ трішки по-іншому тепер подивиться на Україну.
And also the international world from outside of Ukraine will look differently on what is Ukraine, what our country is.
What our country is, yeah. So we cannot wait to hear what we do. Maybe we can put out a book of new Ukrainian plays, post-invasion plays that will be coming out. It's a completely different world. And we will be in. Maria, what are your first memories of theater? If you call it Marius Upul, what were your happy moments? Tell us a bit about your first experiences. What were your?
It was Mariupol Theater, Rapey, do it, and it was the smell of the theater, and this darkness with soffits, and I lost my. Religion, Christ, my Christ.
Cross, your Christ.
Yeah, I lost it in this stage. And after that, my religion became theater and acting. And it was very interesting for me because before theater, all things that I did was very easy to me. My mother is painter, and I began to paint, and all said me, "Oh, you're so talented! It's so good." I began to sing, and all said, "Oh, it's so good for you. You're very talented in singing." But when I began act, my first teachers said me, "Let's see what you do more." And it was like a little fight for me, and it was very interesting to this psychological of my characters, what I play. So it's not, I have a very big problem. I very often I feeling like I'm boring. It's very boring, but in theater it's not boring for me. It's interesting all second, every new second. It's very interesting for me.
Mm-hmm. Incredible. Yeah, I hope that that life in theater in the Ukraine will continue for both hopefully in a renaissance or in a sense of a revolution, that not just what was before, but maybe also in new ways. Question to both of you: what do you think? How will this conflict end? As theater artists, with your eyes to the ground, maybe. Maxim, we start with you. Do you think? What do you think? What do your theater? What do your friends think? How will this all end?
Максим, скажіть, як ваші товариші в театрі, ви також самі думаєте, як це все закінчиться? Чим це все закінчиться?
Ну, я не думаю, я впевнений, що це тільки нашою перемогою може закінчитися, і я вже про це казав.
I not only think, but I deeply believe and convinced that there can only be only one way how it ends, that we will overcome.
Ми інакше не припускаємо, іншого варіанту не може бути. Єдине, що ми не знаємо, якою кількістю крові і
we just don't even imagine other outcomes. The big question is what blood and what price we are going to pay for that outcome.
Але як це закінчиться, у нас немає ніяких сумнів.
So how specifically it all ends, we don't know.
What do you think, Maria?
I think only about one thing, that our world became very cynic. And when in one country there are a lot of murders and the people are dying right now, we are talking now and they're dying now. And another country can't close the sky, for example. Another country is thinking very slowly. And that mother, he continued to kill children. I think only about this. It's not necessary for me buildings or cities. For me, necessary lives. And nobody in Europe, nobody everywhere don't feel this safe. Because how can I be here in Poland, in Germany, in New York, LA, no matter? How can I feel my safety if I know that in another country right now killing people and nobody can't do anything? This is scary for me now.
Question to both of you: what can New York theater community do? What would help you?
Скажіть, чим може допомогти нью-йоркська община, театральні діячі звідси?
Ну, в першу чергу нашій країні, я думаю, допомогти, і є якісь вимоги, і просто приєднатися до того. Ну, і Америка і так робить, я розумію, немало для цього, але є якісь вимоги, і закрити теж небо, і ще все інше. Ну, Якось так.
Максим,
Ми думаємо все ж таки більше про країну, да.
Так, ви знаєте, там був вопрос, як театральні діячі зможуть щось зробити від тут, від Нью-Йорку.
Ну, коли ми переможемо, ми хотіли б, щоб ви побачили, які у нас можуть бути чудові вистави, і ви побачили, що це за країна і що це за театр. І можете приїхати і подивитися на це, а можете і навпаки пригласити.
It's the sense of solidarity from all over, and particularly in the United States, was palpable and incredible help from the government, but specifically as far as theater community in New York and other places, it's more that once this whole nightmare is over, the way theater workers can help each other is to see each other's work, and we would be eager to show what we do in Ukraine, so that, to answer your question, theater community in New York and people who work there would come to see what is happening in Ukraine, to attend plays, to attend festivals.
А поки що хай просто допомагають збирати гроші на ЗСУ, на нашу армію, це наша єдина надія.
But for now, the philanthropic support has been tremendous in America, and the sense of solidarity from all over the world, and we are deeply grateful.
І кожний бронік, кожна каска, це на яку збирають гроші, яка приходить, це чиєсь життя.
And so the way individual people responded by raising money for humanitarian aid, and it's important, and to enable Ukrainian army to fight, to raise resources. One has to remember that each cent and dollar raised, it's a Ukrainian life saved.
Maria, what do you think? What would help you? What would make your life different?
We need to be visible. That's all. We need to be visible now. Now we are talking about Ukraine, and it's great, I think so.
Yeah, it's incredible, and we all need to be aware. We need support. We need to show our solidarity. And there are so many wars going on in the world. Also, the Ukrainian conflict, as Natalia, when we talked to her, the playwright, before, she said, this has been going on since 16. This is a war. We are already in the middle of a war. Elena, if I may ask also you, I know you have family, I guess, in Kyiv. What do you hear? How is you doing? How's your mother doing? How is that for you? Someone living away in another country for many decades?
Yes, it's true, and suddenly it all became incredibly close to me. I've spent more than half of my life living in New York, living not in Ukraine. I left at the age of 20, and I was really fully immersed in the life here and in theater here, in theater in Western Europe. And then suddenly this wave and avalanche of horror, what is happening in Ukraine, it was, I would say, transformative to how I even feel now. It suddenly is all close to home. That horror, the thousands of people dying, the incredible pain that people are experiencing. I think if anything, people in the arts, there is tremendous, what theater creates is tremendous sense of empathy for the other place, for the experience of painful experiences and the catastrophe that is happening in Ukraine. And my mother is in Kyiv, she refused to live, and my uncle is in Odessa, he also refused to live and instead is staying put. But I think apart from family members, it's more the experience of just people overall there. It brings close to home the idea of we do live in the same, we are, whether you're in Poland or in Berlin or you are in New York, we are very much experiencing this horror of war again.
Sure. Incredible. We're coming close to an end. I really would like to thank both of you for joining the Segal Talk. It's very courageous, for you to Maria to speak up, having left your country, for you, Maxim, to speak with us. And it's a reality what he said. We don't know if we wake up tomorrow. His theater could be bombed overnight, tonight. Nobody knows what will happen. Nobody knows what the outcome is. If his actors won't show up for rehearsals in the coming years, it's not because they get commercials or work in film. They might have been killed fighting. So the whole idea of what is theater about is existential, and it's stunning to see the resilience, and that theater actually is a part of resistance. It always has been. Also in World War I, in World War II, and we are seeing all these incredible work. So you have all our respect, and our thoughts are with you, our hearts are with you, and we will try to get the word out and to support you. We are having 2 more talks scheduled on Monday. We have a artist based in Berlin, Greece, born in Russia. It's Julia Strauss, who is organizing grassroots efforts. She's a very significant artist, and she will talk to us what it means for her, for someone in some way from the other side, someone who also had to leave the country early. Then we will hear from Natalia Vorozhbyt from the Belarus Free Theater, who was just in Washington. Also, she's very much involved in diplomatic missions. So it's truly a new world we live in. It's a new world order will happen, and we will have to see. It will no longer be capitalism against communism. It will be, democratic states, perhaps, against authoritarian states. China or Russia everything will be newly mixed, and it is stunning that perhaps, some say, it is also the end of the world power, or the view of Russia as a superpower, what we are experiencing now, and then we are saddened that it's the Ukrainian who are on that front and sacrificing lives and interrupting their lives. It's a little side thing. We at the Segal Center organized a film festival. We have over 100 films. It was theater artists did work in the time of Corona, mostly at home. They are from over 50 countries. So it's called the SegalFilmFestival.org. I don't know if that's for Ukrainian artists, something to look at, but also in the kind of confinement in small spaces, in an expression of free speech, artists found ways to communicate, to direct, and to do. And if we do this again, we really will also, of course, include work from the Ukraine. Thank you really all for being with us. I want to thank Elena for jumping in at the last moment to be the translator, Agata Grenda and Anna Albinger in Gdansk and in Poznan, who helped us to connect to all of you, and the whole round that also said, Frank, it's time, why don't you, we need to do something. And we also had these talks in our minds. So thank you for everybody, Tanvi, Andy at the Segal Center, and I hope to hear and see you again, Maria and Maxim, and I hope you will come to New York one day. To our Segal audience listening in, thank you for taking the time. This is important. They do need our support and help, and there needs to be a feeling of solidarity, that they know that the Ukraine is on our mind. It is of importance, and it's we're living in a global world, and what happens there in a way does happen also to us. So join us if you can Monday with Julia Strauss, and then with the Free Belarus Theater on Wednesday. And to both of you, I don't know what to say besides I wish you all the best. I hope that all your actors come back, Maxim, from the war, from fighting in uniform, and Maria, that you find work, that you can do what you say, what you love, makes you happy, what you chose to do in life. And it's horrific to learn, that Dutch work is interrupted by real war. So thank you, all of them, and all the best from New York and from the Segal Center here at the Graduate Center CUNY. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting.
Thank you.
Тримайтеся, і слава Україні.
Героям слава.
Героям слава.